Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Nicole Oman and this is your new moon in Taurus readings. So on Friday, we have a powerful new moon in Taurus. Not only do we have a new moon, but I think like every other planet is in Taurus right now. We have the sun, we have the moon, we have Mercury, we have Uranus, we have Jupiter. And on top of that, we have the North Node that's pointing all of this energy right towards our manifestation. What do we want our reality to look like? And I have created 3 beautiful readings for you that you can choose from that will help you navigate and set your personal intentions for this energy. So without further ado, let's see what reading is right for you. For reading 1, I used the Rider-Waite Tarot deck, and I called upon the goddess Venus to assist us in this reading. For this reading, we look at sexual empowerment, our beauty, and our attraction. So if you're looking to spark a new flame with an old flame, or bring in a new lover, this might be the reading for you. If it is, you can check out the time signature below and skip right to your reading. In reading 2, I used the Light Seers Tarot deck, and the goddess that I called in was Lakshmi, the goddess of abundance and good fortune. In this reading, we connect to a possible career shift of using your spiritual, creative, and passionate gifts and link them and commit to them as a business venture. So if this is the energy you're connected with, you can look at the time signature below and skip right to your reading. Reading 3, I used the Zen Osho Tarot deck. The goddess that I called in to assist was the goddess Gaia, the essence of the earth and the divine mother energy. In this reading, we talk about healing our relationship to our mother and also allowing our own relationship in the way that we mother to heal as well. So if this is the energy that you're connected to, you can look at the time signature below and skip right to your reading. Hello, reading 1, and welcome to your new moon in Taurus reading. You chose the Rider-Waite Tarot deck with the beautiful goddess Venus in honor of Taurus. So we are looking into our beauty and love and attraction and feeling that sense of confidence to bring in, attract what we desire. And this is where this reading is going. So strap on your seatbelts and we're going to go on for a bit of a passionate ride, if you will. So before I start, I love to show the whole reading so you can see where I'm going. And also, if you ever wanted to pull cards for yourself, I'm giving you a little bit of a template to see how I do it. Okay, so the card here on the bottom is our theme position. This is the theme for the entire reading, and I usually circle back to this card because it tells me that this is what we're working on. The 2 cards in the middle is our present position. This is what we're currently experiencing and also what is either challenging us and pushing us forward. The card all the way in the back here is the past position. This is something that has occurred in our past that might be still working and present in our present day. So it's still affecting us, if you will. The card on the top is the card of advice from our higher self, our bird's eye view, giving us a different perspective of what we're going through. And then this last card closest to me is our future position. It's what we're going to be working on for the next 1 to 3 months to come. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump into your cards. The first card I have for your theme position is the Queen of Wands. I love this card, especially when it comes to connecting with Venus. The Queen of Wands is a mature woman who has lived a little bit of life. She has life experience under her belt, but she's still inspired, committed to her passion, still beautiful and owns herself. And this is the process I feel like you might be going through. Even if your life feels like a hot mess express, which it might, which sometimes that's kind of just normal, I want you to know that it's forging a new aspect of yourself. You're growing, you're developing, you're letting things go that no longer serve you and no longer serve this new self. This whole reading is pointing at you, my dear, and how much worth and value that you bring to the table. And if someone in your life or some sort of situation, job, or whatnot isn't in alignment with who you are becoming, it has to go. If you don't let it go, it might be ripped away from you. And that can feel really painful, but I want you to know that it's not all for naught. This is happening for you. And it's happening because it's fortifying you in this fire to become stronger and more of a confident and even more of an attractive person. One thing that I'm also getting from this card is there's an energy around your sensuality and sexuality. So if that's something that you haven't put on your priority list the last few years, this is something that I want you to reconnect with. You have changed in a very dramatic way. And there's a part of you, this passionate aspect, that needs to be like reignited. And because you're not who you used to be and you've matured, what you want in your sexual connections, whether it be in a partnership that you already have or if you're looking for someone, has changed slightly. There's something deeper that you're craving. There's something more that you're yearning for. And if that's the case, what I would suggest is to go on your own self-exploration journey of that. You can bring your partner along if you have one, but this is about you. What do you want? What do you desire? That's going to spark things not just in your sexual life. This is going to spark your passions when it comes to your career. It's going to spark passions when it comes to what you're putting out there, what kind of energy you're putting out there. It's going to build your confidence. And it's also going to spark different ideas and inspirations, maybe creatively, that you have been holding back on. Sexuality is connected to so many different things. And when we haven't been feeling good about ourselves, this is a really good way to explore ourselves in such an intimate way that you will get to know yourself on a level. And when somebody's really comfortable in their skin in that way and doesn't apologize for themselves, there's an air of confidence that exudes off of them that is just unspoken, right? So this is an energy that I'm getting. So if you felt called to connect with your sexuality, one of the books I would recommend, I don't see it. It's called The Multi-Orgasmic Woman. There's also a book, a Multi-Orgasmic Man and Multi-Orgasmic Couple. I'll just pop it up here, Multi-Orgasmic Woman, so you can see it. And this book will help you do breathing exercises, ask you certain questions so you can kind of dive into that. It's not just about having orgasms, but it's more about getting to know yourself in that intimate way again. So I'd suggest that. I'm also getting an energy of connecting with your beauty. So if you're feeling a little like your hair is dull, you need a look change, you need a new outfit, you need a new style, that's something also that you can commit to that will help you with this new identity. Speaking of, let's go into your present moment. All right, this is really interesting. Speaking of passions, we have the 10 of Wands here. Now, you may have this feeling right now or this experience that's going on in your life that sure, you want to get into your passions, but your passions might feel like a burden, okay? Look at how heavy they look. Maybe even the idea of connecting to what makes you passionate or connecting to your sexuality might bring a lot of shame or guilt because we don't prioritize this as well-being, which it is. We think, oh, let's put another task on our back, right? But it doesn't have to be that way. Also, as we're learning about ourselves, because we've been going through so much the last year or so, everything that we're learning might feel heavy. But because I have this Queen of Wands and she's sitting on her throne so eloquently and elegantly, what they're saying is you might just feel overwhelmed. Maybe the idea of connecting back to your passion, connecting back to sexuality, connecting to your beauty feels like a lot. But what they want to show you is consolidate what you think that is. It might just be in your head, okay? And the more that you kind of come back to yourself and know that this is going to be a nourishing experience and that you don't have to take it all on at once, right? The hangman is literally telling me, slow down, tranquilo, right? Slow down, you have time. And I love the hangman because it is this person who is like upside down, but his head is completely illuminated with new ideas, with new inspiration. So the more that you slow down and know that you don't have to have this all figured all out at once, you don't have to overwhelm yourself, that this is not advice to burden you, but this is an advice to connect to your passion because it's going to fulfill you. And that you can take your time with it and you can, one passion at a time, learn the different aspects of the new self. You don't have to figure out who you are exactly right now. It's still being developed and it's still being formed. Let's look at your past card. The past card tells me so much about the process that you have been going through. The Eight of Swords in reverse is telling me that maybe in the last 8 months, or I'm getting like 1 to 2 years actually, that a lot has changed for you and that you may have felt very stuck in your old life, in your old self. And so these last few years may have been one of those things where all these identities are starting to fall away. Because it's in the reverse position, you're not stuck per se anymore, because there has been a lot of people, maybe friendships, that have left your life. Maybe you have left a relationship that didn't serve you anymore. Maybe you moved. Maybe you have changed career or jobs. And what's interesting, what we don't realize, even if it's just friendships or a job or whatnot, each one of those things holds a different role that we play. And when we identify with those roles, because we're just living our life, we don't think about it, it's holding us in place. It's holding that identity. It's holding that role as something that we think we are. When that role goes away, then we have to reinvent ourselves, okay? And when we have to reinvent ourselves, we can go through a grieving process. We can feel lost. We can feel blind to who we are now. And that can cause a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of stress, because we're used to certain patterns and routines. We're used to having a certain sense of status quo. But when things have fallen away, which I think they have, it gives us an opportunity to, like I said, with the Queen of Wands, is find who we are again, find this, like, I almost get like, after this process, you're going to be 10 years younger. Don't even worry about it. It might feel heavy right now, but you are going to feel a whole lot better, because who you were identified with didn't serve you anymore, and you had to let that go. Okay. But take your time. Take your time. You are reinventing yourself. You can't do it in a day, okay? Take your time with this. Okay, so let's go to the guidance from Spirit here. Here she comes, the descending of the message from Spirit. It's the Empress. Not only did I get the Queen of Wands for you, I got the Empress. The Empress is the highest, most self-realized feminine card in the deck. It is a major arcana, And this is telling me that you are reconnecting to your divine feminine energy and that you are discovering yourself in your power as the feminine. You don't have to be masculine. You don't have to work and toil and scrape and compete like the masculine. What we have to do is sit in our own power and know who we are. Take ownership of our gifts, talents, worth, beauty, our desires, and without apology. This is something that I think that I picked up last week too in one of my readings is stop apologizing for what you want. Stop apologizing for who you are. You are beautiful and you're allowed to express it that way, even if you don't feel beautiful in the moment. This is an energy of really taking ownership of your divine feminine nature. And we have to unravel the old programs that we were conditioned to be masculine, overproductive, don't rest, you have to succeed, you have to be perfect, all of these things. The feminine way is about allowing ourselves to create a little bit of mess. The feminine is a little messy. You're allowed to make a little bit of a mess. You're allowed to make mistakes. You're allowed to not know. You're allowed to not be perfect for just a minute and just be you, raw or authentically, whatever wants to be expressed. The feminine is like the weather. It doesn't apologize for when it needs to rain. It doesn't apologize for when it needs to come in like a tornado. I come in like a wrecking ball, right? We're taking some maiden energy from Miley right now. It doesn't also apologize when it needs to be sunny. So if you need to shine and be bright, also that is okay. You're allowed to do that. You don't have to apologize. You just have to become, right? And again, I keep looking at that 10 of Wands card where it feels like a burden. It can feel like a burden if you want it to be, but it's only because you're not allowing yourself to enjoy it and have a little more fun with it. If it feels like a burden, you can put that passion down. You can put that stick down so that you can really enjoy the process. Because the real truth of it is you didn't come to this earth, no matter what anybody has told you, whatever you were conditioned, you didn't come here to toil. We came here to play. This was the Garden of Eden. This was a beautiful planet of earthly pleasures, but something got distorted. And now with the religious text that we have, we believe that pleasure is some sort of unholy thing. Now, if we're only chasing pleasure, sure, right? We need to have some morals here, right? But if you're not in your pleasure and you're only suffering, great, you have your martyr badge, but you don't need to be the martyr to be holy. You can enjoy yourself. Women, we have an entire little organ that is a part of our physical body that the only thing that's there for is physical pleasure. And you get to enjoy that part of yourself too. There goes back to the sexual energy. You're allowed to re-explore yourself as a beautiful person of pleasure. And you don't have to apologize for it. There's nothing dirty or unholy about it. Allow yourself to explore yourself in whatever way feels good for you. Because that in itself, giving yourself that permission, will re-establish a certain amount of confidence and a certain amount of, empowerment with your own relationship to your physical body. And your experience here on the beautiful planet Earth. And the Empress is really reminding ourselves that it's okay to be luscious. She has this beautiful fruit of pomegranate on her dress. That's a very sexual fruit. Like what I said, I mean, I'm getting pointed to sexual exploration here. Okay, so let's go to the future position as we finish up this reading. It is the Seven of Cups in reverse. So this is all about exploration. We might not exactly know what we want yet, but we have to turn over different cups. And if you look, there's like so many different cups. There's a snake, that's transformation. There's a dragon, that's part of our like shadow dark side, but it's also our power. It always reminds me of that scene in Game of Thrones where Daenerys is in the if you haven't seen it, whatever, spoiler alert, but she's in this arena and she's trapped, and all of a sudden her dragon comes down and he's kind of wild and he screams at her in her face and her hair is blowing and she just kind of stares and looks at it, and then she gets on the back of the dragon and rides him. I'm like, yeah, that's her like looking at her power, even though it's scary. And she's like, I'm going to take ownership of my power and ride it. So even if you have to explore parts of your dark side, parts of your power that are unruly, do it. Learn how to ride your power in more ways than one. I don't know. We're talking about sexuality. My head's going everywhere. There's also this beautiful energy of like hidden aspects of the self, some gems, some like a wreath of victory. There's a lot of different things you're allowed to explore. So give yourself permission. I did pull a card with this. And what I think is really kind of fun, it's the Lovers card. So you might have to try on some lovers. You get permission to try on different, maybe go date, go explore. And if you're in a relationship, maybe not go explore with lovers, explore with your lover. Look, me and my husband had to go through something, what was it, 2 Octobers ago, where we have been married for 13 years. And there's times where we have to explore each other in a different way because we have become different as we grow and we mature. We aren't the same sexual partners that we were when we were in our 20s when we got together. So what do we like? What do we don't like? How can we mature this? How do we communicate in a way that's healthy? How can we tell each other's fantasies? How do I hold space for his? How does he hold space for mine? And when we went through that, we learned so much about each other. We learned so much about ourselves, and our connection has become so strong. We've learned how to be a tantric couple, where not only have we really understood our physical bodies and what turns us on, and we get to explore that, even if it's a little unconventional. It's even surprising for me what I ended up discovering that I like. Oh, in another video maybe. But what we started to connect with is this energy of transcendental sexuality with each other. We started seeing beautiful visions. We started pulling healing energy through our bodies. We held space for each other where I would feel something that was stuck in my body, and I would show him where it was stuck, and he would put his sexual energy towards that, and I would breathe it into where I felt the void space or abandonment or fear or control issues. And when his energy, and when I allowed my vulnerability and to open up to his sexual energy to meet me there, we both would have a profound healing experience. And I would also allow myself, we would take turns and I would allow myself to do that. And we would cry together, and he would hold me in those places of vulnerability. And it brought our intimacy to a whole nother level. And let me tell you something, this isn't a pipe dream. I've helped couples start to connect with with each other in this way so that they can find the healing energy that they're looking for, that tantric energy of the connection between the masculine. Right now I have the Ardhanarishvara, which is the blending of the masculine and the feminine in one being, right? It's the Shiva, the Shakti, the feminine life force energy meeting with the divine masculine. And when those two energies combine, magic happens. And it's a lot of people talk about manifestation, and it's not just about manifestation when you have these two together. Sure, it's creation, but it's also healing. It's also a combination of wholeness that goes within your own sense of being. So if that's the energy that you're looking for, this is a beautiful 8 months, a time of 8 months of exploring your sensual side, exploring your tantric side, and maybe even talking in your lover to exploring that. You can get the multi-orgasmic woman book, and he can get the multi-orgasmic male book, and you guys can learn how to combine forces and become tantric superheroes. I don't know. But it's fun. I will admit it's very fun. Okay. So that is all she wrote for today. Very tantric, very empowering, very Taurus. Taurus loves to. My husband's a Taurus, so I won't give it too much away, but they love the sensualness, the five senses, the touch, the taste, the smell, the feel, you know. So in honor of Taurus, we had to bring in the sexy time. Well, I hope this finds you well. If you like what I do, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. If you would like a little bit of support and help to bring your own desires up without any judgment, you can book a session with me. I can also help guide you to the next steps to pulling in, attracting that tantric partner, or helping your relationship become and transform into a tantric partnership. So if you want support with that, book a reading, book a session with me. I have experience and I can help you find your own way, your own path, if you will. Until next time, thank you so much for joining me, and have a beautiful new moon in Taurus. Namaste. Hello, reading 2, and welcome to your new moon in Taurus reading. You chose the Light Seers Tarot deck with the goddess Lakshmi, who is the goddess of abundance, financial health, and good fortune. And if I'm looking at the cards, I do think that's where we're going. Especially in this new moon in Taurus energy, we can focus on our financial health and maybe make it stronger and more stable as we go along for the next 6 to 8 months. All right, so let's jump into the cards. When I begin, I like to show you the entire reading so you can get a gist of where we're going. I also like to show you what the cards represent. If you ever wanted to pull cards for yourself, this is a good template to start with. So the first card we have on the bottom here is the theme position. This is the theme of the entire reading, and I will circle back to that card because this is what we're working with through this energy. The 2 cards in the center is our present position. So this is what's going on right now for us, and also what might be challenging us or driving us forward. The card all the way in the back there is the past position. This is something that's happened in our past that is still affecting us today and maybe even into our future. Then this top card here is our message from our higher guidance, from spirit, and also giving us a higher perspective of what is going on. This card right next to me is the future position. This is what we will be feeling or what will affect us in the next 1 to 3 months in our future. Okay, without further ado, let's jump into your reading. Okay, so the very first card we have, the theme position, if you will, is the High Priestess. This is a major arcana card. So when major arcana cards come out, I'm like, okay, we're not messing around. Something big is happening in our life. Maybe something very destined, but something that's going to affect or shift you in the long run. The High Priestess is this card of our inner gifts and talents. So either being a healer, connecting to our own inner guidance system. The High Priestess sits between the veil of the physical reality and in the spirit world. They can usually pull messages. They tend to be healers or shamans, and they understand what's going on beyond this physical reality. This card is telling me that this is the power that you're starting to connect with and embody. You are having to own this energy in a new way and potentially making this your new identity, role, or if we're talking about Lakshmi here, your career. So if you've been thinking or dreaming about doing healing work, psychic work, something that is connected to your spirituality, this might be the push that you need to move it from a hobby and into something that is going to be lucrative for you. And that might be a very scary leap of faith. But in these cards, that is a deep pull, a deep message that's coming forward. So if there's fear here or there is hesitancy, no, I'm getting very much so that you need to trust yourself, trust your guidance, and trust your intuition here. Let's move into the present moment. So the present moment, we have a pair of queens. So this is really taking ownership of who we are. We have the Queen of Wands in reverse. So this is something that we do as a passion, a hobby, maybe doing our own inner work or our own transformational work. And it's been something that we've really enjoyed, but we maybe not have like committed to it fully yet. It's in reverse because it's something that we love. But have you come out of the spiritual closet yet? Have you told other people that this is what you like to do? Are we hiding in corporate? Are we hiding from our friends and our family and not really saying that this is what we love? This is what lights us up. This is what brings us joy. This is what brings us passion. The more that you hide, the more that you're keeping that truth from spreading to other people. If you look around her, there are a lot of little lights, little tea lights being lit. If you don't really come out and say that, you're going to give others a disservice because you won't be able to light their flame. You might be scared to come out and say who you are and what you love. But what you don't realize is maybe there are more people around you that are ripe to hear your truth, ripe to hear what you're doing, okay? On top of you is the Queen of Pentacles. This is telling me two things. One, it's telling me that you have to embody this truth, that it is time to take ownership of it, ground into it. This isn't some woo-woo pipe dream. And this work isn't woo-woo. It's actually, I feel, more real than what our health industry is doing right now, what our mental health industry is doing right now. I mean, I don't think pharma is the answer. I do think that there are holistic ways of healing and knowing the body, knowing the self, knowing the emotions. And there is a better way to heal ourselves and connect. And the more that you take ownership that this isn't some floofy nonsense and you take it seriously, others will begin to take it seriously too, because this is real deal stuff. I mean, I've been doing it for 15 years. I'm a Virgo. If I didn't think it worked, I'd be out of here. I'm one of the biggest skeptics that you know. I went to school for psychology and I let it go so I can study in an ashram in India, learn Ayurvedics, learn from Amma. and also learn a different way that was going to heal the trauma that I had in my childhood. And so because of that, I found true, organic, and authentic forgiveness for my father and for those traumatic events that have happened in my life. I've become a healthy and grounded and lucrative teacher, putting my work out into the world, and I've helped many people. It's because I come with a certain state of understanding because I've experienced the healing work for itself, and I've made it real, tangible, and grounded. And I'm saying this because I know that you can too. The second thing I'm getting from this card is if you're scared of creating a business out of your passion, which I get it, it does take time, energy, and commitment, but it can be sustainable for you. And that is the message I'm getting here with this Queen of Pentacles. Yes, you can be grounded in your work and it can be abundant. But I do get that it might take a little time. So let's get into the past position. So in your past position, we have the Death Rebirth card in reverse. This card is telling me that in your immediate past, so maybe, I don't know, anywhere about a year, if you will, you've had to do a phoenixing, if you will. So a lot of things are changing in your life. Because it's in the reverse position, I don't think your changes are done yet. I think that's why you're getting the like, hey, you might be making a career change. You might be trying to make money from a passion, from something that really, and if it's spiritual work, that's one thing too. It also can be from your art and creativity, just so you know. So if you have a creative gift, the creative channel is very much the same channel that we have as psychics, as mediums. The more that you clear your channel, the more that you can be a conduit for your creative, feminine, healing nature to come through. I know so many artists that are healers, that are intuitive, that pop up their images through their own intuition, that connect to their subconscious, and that's why their art is so beautiful and inspiring. So just so you know, you're in the middle of getting to know who you are as a practitioner, as an artist, and you still have, I think there might be a cycle of 8, if you will, 8 more months to really develop and kind of understand where you're going with this and how this is all going to make sense, how this is actually going to support you, okay? So just so you know, you're in the middle of the death rebirth process. It's not over yet. I know you're like, oh, really? I went through so much. We still have a little bit more that needs to work through. The message from Spirit that's coming down here is the 8 of Wands in reverse. The reason why it's in reverse is because I believe this is saying, calm down, take your time, one step at a time. The Ace of Wands is an energy of moving forward. It usually means moving forward rather quickly, like having a fire lit under your ass, you know. But what I think is, looking at this card in reverse, maybe you'll have a match lit under your ass instead of an entire fire. So I'm getting like slow and steady does win the race, but there has to be passion here. There has to be energy. You have to take action. You can't just like wait for the wave to come. You really do have to kind of spark your own flame here. But you can do one thing every month. So if it's, you know, getting the website, starting a YouTube channel, writing a business plan, getting investors, whatever that is, you might want to create a plan that has an 8-month trajectory with one goal for each month. You don't have to leave your career or your job just yet if you haven't already. You can really give yourself a little bit of runway room so this can be a little bit more grounded, solid, and not so abrupt. it's going to be intense enough because you're going to be learning new skills, and you're also going to be breaking through a lot of old belief systems and letting some things go. But in the meantime, you can have the stability. With that Queen of Pentacles, this doesn't have to be like, what's the word? Like a flash in the pan, or like an impulsive decision. You can do this over time, these small steps that will lead into something big. I remember when I started doing my work, and this was many years ago, and I started recording videos. I did a 10-minute video every day for like a year. I didn't really gain traction for about a year. I learned my skills, I honed my craft, and then all of a sudden it started taking traction. But I didn't put a ton of pressure on myself. I did it a little bit every day. And eventually, in the course of a few years, I ended up having an entire online community. So little steps add up to big steps. And they really do. If you put in a little time, a little bit of effort every single day, it will add up, and it will build you a new foundation of stability. Okay, so last but not least, we have our future card, and this is the Justice card. The Justice card is also a major arcana. Oh, by the way, that past position, the death rebirth, that was major arcana too. Do you see how big this decision is? Do you see how life-changing, how purpose-driven this is? This isn't like a light decision. This is like you're being guided. You're being asked. You're being called to be part of a movement that's bigger than you. You are being called to own your work that's bigger than you. Whatever that might be, you have the ability to commit to this in a deeper way. But in the next 1 to 3 months, we will be working with this energy of this Justice card. If you look at her here, she has the sword, and this is the sword of truth, and underneath is this shadow energy. So we have some inner shadows coming up that used to self-sabotage us in the past, talk us out of doing it based off of fear, worthiness issues, maybe naysayers, excuses, feeling like we don't have the resources to do it. Just insert excuse here, right? We're going to have to look at those voices and deal with them. They're not going anywhere, but they're also here to make us stronger. Every time I have to deal with my own inner fears, whether they're internalized or there's somebody externally that is like a kind of a mirror to those voices within that are telling me that I'm not good enough, or I get a no, or I get rejected by somebody or something, I call these threshold guardians. These are our very tests to see if we are ready, if we are strong enough to move through our obstacles and really commit to our purpose. If we can't, that's okay. We do a U-turn and it loop backs around eventually. But I'm really getting, because of all these major arcana cards, that you are ready. And it's time to stop self-sabotaging and really show up. Like I said, every day, show up every day. Because what makes you who you are is your patterns and routines. The physical actions you're taking every day creates the foundation of your new reality. If you're spending all your time and energy, scrolling or being distracted by a million other things, then that's your reality. If you really put out a plan and you take action on something that you are really passionate about, that you love, that you believe in, that will be the foundation of your new reality. So you have to get stronger. You have to move through these beliefs, these ideas, these naysayers. And if it's your family, it might be your partner, it might be your mother, or whoever that might be that might not understand this, they're also threshold guardians, because those are the chains that keep us suppressed to our old way instead of really trusting our inner guidance back to that high priestess, our inner power, our inner knowing, and our inner wisdom that's trying to tell you that you have what it takes to be fulfilled through your passions and also be fulfilled monetarily as you do so. I do have this energy that you're being guided and that you're being protected. It might not be an easy journey, but it is worth it in the long run. You have to connect to that inner guidance and really listen to what your heart is telling you, even if it's hard, even if it's painful, even if you have to let go of an old way, even if you have to let go of old people. I think in your heart of hearts, you know what is right, and it's time to listen to yourself. Okay. All right, that feels complete. If you like my readings, please make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can get more of these free offerings every week. Also, if you would like a little bit of guidance support, you can book a session or a reading with me, and we can dive deep into what your journey and what your path looks like. If you need a little help, I've been doing this work professionally for 15 years. If you need a little support and guidance on how to do that, you can also book a session with me. It's kind of fun. I do like helping people really come into their empowerment and into their purpose. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining me. And until next time, namaste. Hello, reading 3, and welcome to your new moon in Taurus reading. All right, so you chose the Zen Osho Tarot deck with the goddess Gaia. She connects us to the beautiful planet Earth, and she's also this divine mother of creation energy. And I do feel like in these cards, there's a bit of healing that has to do with either our connection to our own physical mother or a motherly figure or mother in general, the energy of mother. So maybe we had a disconnect with our own mothering energy, and it's time to embody that once again. So as we start our reading, I like to show you the entire reading before I start so you can get a feel of where we're going. Also, I like to show you what each card and what position means so you can follow along with me. This bottom card is our theme position. I will always circle back to this card because this is kind of the generalities of what we're learning for this new moon. The two cards in the center are our present position. So this is what is happening now for us and maybe what's challenging us or driving us forward. The card all the way back there is the past. This card, yes, might be from the past, but it's still influencing us in the present moment and maybe even in our future. And then this top card up here is our guidance and message from our higher self, from spirit, and gives us a higher perspective of what's going on. This last card here is the future position of what we're going through and what we're dealing with for the next month to 3 months in our immediate future. Okay, let's go into the reading now. Here is your theme position. It is the morality card, the wheel of morality, turn, turn, turn. I don't know if you ever watched the Animaniacs. This is a card where we feel a little stuck in our thoughts. Maybe we have compartmentalized parts of our lives and we can't see clearly. And so I asked for a card of clarity around what is mentally blocking us. And here it is. It is the Empress card, or in this card, it's the creativity card. Do you know that all 3 readings, I pulled this card at some point? There's a lot of mother energy that's coming up for us, a lot of Mother Earth, a lot of our own physical mother, and also really taking ownership of our own feminine power. So this is what I'm getting from these energies. First, I think that there might be some unhealed and unresolved energy around our own physical mothers. Maybe they are not the mother we expected, so we're putting them in a box, and there is still energies of victimhood lingering, whether it's our own victimhood and we have made them the villain, or our own mothers made us the villain. I'm not exactly sure, but there is some sort of disconnect that's coming in with this motherly energy. If you're not feeling that, it also can be around our own feminine power. Maybe we've caged, boxed our own feminine wisdom, our ability to show up in a way that feels vulnerable, authentic, organic. We also might be caging our own creativity, our own sense of exploration and making mistakes. Maybe we're caught in the box of perfectionism. So we're going to continue to go back to this. What are we caging? What part of our mother energy or our natural state of divinity are we blocking because we have some negative thoughts, some old thought patterns that does not serve us anymore? Okay, so let's go into our present position and see what that looks like. The first card I have is the Ordinariness card in reverse, and on top of that is clinging to the past. In the Ordinariness card, this is kind of going right back down to the mundane. It's going back to not like ideas of grandiose. It's going back to what is happening right now, right here in our ordinary world. If we're blocked by something, I do think it's coming from the relationship to our feminine side, our mother. So even if you had a good relationship with your mother, maybe she had a tendency to self-sacrifice or overgive. Maybe she had some martyrdom things and you're still doing those things and it's keeping you blocked as well. I had a wonderful mother and I love my mother very much. I still have a wonderful mother. Sorry, Mom. In past tense, she's still here. But I also see some of her tendencies that she does that I do. And some of them are great and some of them are detrimental to me. And so I had to kind of grow from those, evolve from those. Even though I love her very much, I can't be stuck in where she gets stuck. So I had to take responsibility in my ordinary world and not blame her for those tendencies, but take responsibility that I can shift that I can choose differently, that I can forgive those parts of myself where I get stuck, where I self-sacrifice, and I can let them go. Because we have the clinging to the past thing, it is coming from the past. It's something maybe that has been a pattern that has been keeping you stuck. Do you see the theme here? I said that morality card is like stuck in a box. And here is the clinging to the past, where literally there's a blockhead here. We have ideas that are making us feel very stuck. But the good news is we also have the ability to heal these aspects. In the past position, I have the harmony card. So there is a certain amount of healing that you've already done on this. So I want to say this. I've been doing this for a very long time, and there's something that I hear my clients say all the time. Oh, I already worked on that, or I already healed that. Yeah, yes, you're very smart. Yes, you have healed it, but healing is cyclical, you guys. It's layers, okay? You don't just go to an ayahuasca ceremony, have this wonderful healing, and then magically it's done, it's gone away. You could put it in a little box, put a bow on it, and, on to the next. Things aren't that linear. We go through things that are in a cyclical nature. When I healed the relationship with my father, and I did it during an ayahuasca ceremony, I had a beautiful sense of forgiveness for him. And that really helped me heal my relationship with him. But that doesn't mean that I don't have daddy issues anymore. There was a reality that happened for me in my past that still affected me. And it affected me on many layers. I had safety issues, trust issues with men. I had weird provider issues. I did not let anybody else take care of me because he couldn't provide for us in that way. So I always kind of took the initiative to be the breadwinner and I didn't really allow Ryan, my husband, to step up as the provider. And so when different layers would come up, because right now that's what I'm healing is the provider issue. Even though over 10 years ago, I did heal. I did do that really beautiful healing of the relationship with my father. There's still ways that my relationship with my father does affect me. So this might be your relationship with your father, but this might be your relationship with your mother. I thought I healed my relationship with my mother. Well, you did. There's a layer. You did a really beautiful heart opening, maybe a forgiveness ritual, started to get clarity, started to let go of some old wounding, but we're now being asked to open up to another layer. The message from Spirit will help us here. I have the consciousness card. This is getting an awareness of what that new thing is, and also choosing a different approach than the unconscious pattern that is happening. So I want you to look at a belief. Well, I'm getting a lot of mental energy, right? We started with the morality card, and that's this boxed way of thinking, this very narrow, focused way of thinking. And this consciousness card, where it's this expansive thinking, seeing our way outside of the box, letting our perspective have a wider approach, a higher approach. Maybe not taking your mother so personally, maybe having empathy for her plight, maybe realizing we put a certain label on what we thought a mother should be. So instead of accepting our mother the way we are as a human being, like everyone else on this planet, we gave her higher expectations. We came in with thinking that this is not the mother we should have had. But at the end of the day, she's the mother that you do have. She's the parent that you do have. And that's okay. That the reason why she came to you is because she had to mold you to become who you are. Good, bad, ugly, and in between. And us putting a projection of what we thought, this idealized version of what we were told or what we feel a mother should be, is really the dissonance between this relationship. No, I'm not saying that you didn't have a toxic relationship with your mother or she wasn't toxic to you, but we can continue to cast her as the villain and still continue to cast ourselves as the victim of our story, or we can recast her as the human of our story and us as the human of our story, and begin to heal and shed another layer that is keeping us isolated from allowing new and healthier relationships to come into our life. I think this, whatever this is keeping us from the intimacy that we really are creating. It's also keeping us from our full realized power and empowerment. Okay, so in the future position, I have the isolation card. Because of this, we might be unconsciously isolating ourselves from emotional vulnerability, from deeper and intimate connections. This might even connect us to our relationships. Even if we're a woman and it's our mother, what we don't realize, the funny thing is, I kind of married my mother, which is weird. It's my husband, but where I have certain things in my chart, my mom, her moon sign is where my husband's sun sign is. So my mom has a Taurus moon 5 degrees. And my husband is a Taurus at 5 degrees. I married like this emotional aspect of my mother. My husband's very nurturing and amazing, and they have this weird, the same like dirty sense of humor, which is hilarious. So they always like send each other like dirty, weird jokes. I don't know. They have a funny relationship. But my relationship with my healthy relationship with my mother, allowed me to have the really beautiful, healthy relationship I have with my husband. Even if, you know, you're looking for a man, you might still, your mother issues might be the very thing that's keeping you from having that relationship and isolating and really closing off, icing out our hearts. As we begin to go through another layer of healing, so if this is your reading, I would like you, for your new moon intention, to heal your relationship to this and allow your heart to begin to melt so that you can go to a state, this new state of completion, right? Like I said, healing cyclical. You'll probably, in like a year or two, maybe have another layer of it. But there is a state of completion that is wanting to be had with this. What is done is done. Maybe it is like finally having completion with feeling like this person was your villain, letting it go. And once you let it go, I think your whole life is going to shift in such a beautiful and dynamic way. We just got to let go of some of the projections that we have. They don't serve you anymore. You can really start getting the nourishment that you need. And the last card that I did pull here is the playfulness card. This is the inner child. So it's the completion of the healing of this part of your wounded child so that it can express itself with more safety, more permission. I'm getting like maybe your inner child was like under the coat of this perfectionism. Maybe your mother was hypercritical, but now it's time to free that aspect of yourself and stop blaming her and allow yourself to be just who you are with her approval or not. That's none of your business on what her judgments are. It's about how you feel about yourself. And yes, we would love the validation of our parents, but sometimes we can't have that. And we have to accept the unacceptable. And when we can get to accepting that, then we can accept them just the way that they are. And we don't need to have that. And the funny thing is, the conundrum of this is sometimes when we accept ourselves the way that we are, the more and more that they lose that like need to fight you, and then they start accepting you. But you have to let go of the fight yourself. You got to drop your sword, come to yourself and go, what really matters is that I love myself and that I accept and unconditionally love my mom, whether she accepts me or not. And that is the beauty of deep compassion for yourself and deep compassion for those around you that you cannot change. You can't change them, but you can change how you feel about you. That is in your power. Okay, so that is your reading. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like what I do, please subscribe to my channel. That helps me out a lot. You can also book a reading with me if you need help going through this healing energy with your mother or with anyone else, maybe a motherly figure, a female figure. You can book a session or a reading with me and we can dive deep within that. I can hold space for you in a very loving way, and you can start to bring up that healthy, creative child within so that you can really embrace your own empowerment. All right, everyone, until next time, I will see you soon. I hope you have a beautiful new moon in Taurus. Until next time, namaste.